Let's bring in our Middle East correspondent, Sam Kiley, in Jerusalem. Sam, welcome again. Give us a sense, if you can, of the scale of the protests and what they betoken.
Well, I think that they really point towards the Egyptian parliamentary elections, which are going to be sometime in April, because this will be an opportunity for the opposition to try and recover some of the political ground they lost during the campaigning that they were very incoherent about against, in the end, Egypt's constitution, which was introduced last December with a resounding majority of some 64% of Egyptians voting in favour of a constitution that was, in the view of the opposition, at any rate, ushering in a greater Islamisation of Egypt. So these demonstrations are very much in that context, trying to whip up public support and a level of national understanding among opposition groups of the importance that the opposition are going to attach to these parliamentary elections. And also, the Muslim Brotherhood are aware that they may be slightly on the back foot when it comes to parliamentary elections, because they have begun under President Morsi, of course, who's a member of the Muslim Brotherhood, quite a major round of social spending. They've vowed to rehabilitate some 2,000 secondary schools. They're introducing widespread sort of social benefits, particularly in the rural areas, because that is, after all, essentially where their bedrock of support derives from. There is something of a rural-urban split between the dominance of the Muslim Brotherhood and other Islamists and the liberals and secular voters who tend to be concentrated in the metropolitan areas.
Yeah, it's what they call in America pork barrel politics, isn't it? Making sure you buy off your votes to make sure that the people who would be your natural supporters keep doing it. I mean, it's hard in a sense, isn't it, Sam? We were talking about this an hour ago, to look at pictures of demonstrations in Tahrir Square. You mentioned it's not just in Cairo, Alexandria, other major cities too, but not to feel actually, when it came to it, there was the referendum on the Constitution, and actually 2/3 of people sided with Morsi.
They did, but then I think what the opposition are very keen that Egyptians, in a sense, wake up to is that the Brotherhood's introduction of that constitution has already been started to be used to stifle free speech. For example, a television presenter was arrested, television personality rather, was arrested recently because he had a satirical political show for insulting the president and insulting, potentially also accused of allegedly insulting Islam. There have been a number of arrests of journalists and others who have been affected by some of the elements that look fairly benign within the Constitution, but are being used increasingly by the government to suppress free speech. And if we go back exactly 2 years to when this Egyptian revolution all began, that was precisely the sort of thing that these huge demonstrations that in the end toppled the long-standing military dominance of the political scene in Egypt was all about. It was all about trying to get freedom of speech to have something approaching the sorts of rights of the individual that many people in the West enjoy. And a lot of those rights have been rolled back, and a lot of them are now being, or rather the opposition people are feeling the squeeze in a physical sense from a government that they helped to bring to power, after all.